Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Just going to wait a moment while we officially go live. But welcome, I want to officially welcome you guys to day 3. Okay, we're on. Excellent. Welcome to day 3 of the Unleash Your Inner Storyteller Challenge. I hope you guys have been enjoying the training. It's been such an amazing experience for me to sit in this space with you guys and to share some of my knowledge, some of my experience, and actually what is one of my most, like I said, one of my most favorite topics, which is the art of storytelling, how to bond with our people, how to share our story to improve our credibility, to expand our network, to connect with our people and establish greater community. So welcome. I'm going to just wait a few moments for people to start joining me live. I'd love to check in with you. I know, especially if you're new to this group, but even if you're not new to this group, if you have been in this group for a while, I would love to hear in the comments, who are you and what do you do in your business? So let me know. You might be able to find some soulmate clients in this group. Use the comments to really, take this time to really plug your business, to plug yourself. Something that especially as women, we can often find, that can be a little bit uncomfortable for us to do. I know for me personally, I've had to really move through a lot of old programming around feeling confident and comfortable to promote myself. And that has come with time and practice. I haven't always been comfortable promoting myself, but it's such an important thing to do, a really, really important thing to spend time learning how to do that. So take a moment, plug into, especially if you're watching the replay, #replay. Let me know in the comments who you are, where are you from, and what sort of work do you do with your clients. Today we're going to be finishing up the beautiful 3-day Storyteller Challenge, Unleash Your Inner Storyteller. I've got some really awesome and exciting training for you guys, and I'm going to be sharing with you an amazing opportunity to join me in a project that I'm working on as well. So let's get started. Essentially, what I wanted to start off and say was, it was really in January this year it was January the 15th. I remember January 15, 2020, and there was fires everywhere. It was, if you cast your mind back, if you were in Australia to the beginning of the year, it was like Armageddon, right? We had fires. It was smoky. It was like red clouds everywhere. And, half the country was on fire. And on that day, the book that I contributed to, Leaders, Women Who Change the World with Their Business, became a bestseller. It charted through the charts on Amazon and became a bestseller in about 5 or 6 different countries. I remember sitting at my computer pretty much like all day watching the charts as this book that I'd contributed to with 25 other women suddenly started to be seen and started to climb the ranks of all of these different categories in Amazon. It was literally the most exhilarating and crazy feeling to watch that and to finally see our book get to number 1. It got to number 1 in about 6 different categories in about 6 different countries. It was very, very, very exciting. And I remember this like displaced feeling, right? Where half of our country was on fire. It was January 2020. Half the country was on fire. It was chaos. It felt like Armageddon. And our book had reached the number 1 bestseller. It was just the most incredible experience ever. And so what I wanted to talk about today essentially was the power of sharing your story through a multi-author book, the power of claiming the work that you do with your clients, claiming the transformational experiences that you facilitate, and the power of really claiming your journey and owning your story and sharing it on a global stage. It's such a powerful thing to do from a business perspective. And I'm going to talk about the benefits to being in a multi-author book today. I'm going to talk about the benefits to becoming a best-selling author. And I have people that have gone to me like, I don't know how being in a bestseller could actually improve my business, right? It makes me kind of go, are you serious? You have no idea how being a best-selling author can improve your business. Okay, well, we'll start from scratch. But hopefully you have some comprehension of how becoming a bestseller a best-selling author can actually dramatically increase your profile, dramatically help you with your revenue. It's such a powerful marketing tool, and we're going to be delving into that today. These headphones are going to drive me mad. I need to get some new ones. Bear with me. So as you're joining me live, let me know who you are so I know who I'm talking to. And yeah, so we've spent the first 2 days in this journey together, delving into the hero's journey, right? Delving into this monomyth, that Joseph Campbell identified, the stages of transformation. That's how I like to look at it. We've spoken about how the monomyth can be represented in your personal business genesis story, how it can be represented in your brand story, and how it can be represented in your client journeys as well, in the experiences that your clients have when you work with them, the transformations that they have. And I want to touch on that a little bit before we move into the second part of our session today. But essentially, if you have powerful client testimonials or powerful client journeys, right? They might not even be written testimonials. They might just be, you've seen your clients go through this incredible transformation. Are you using this in your content, and are you using these as a storytelling piece? If you're not, I highly encourage you to get out your pen, get out a piece of paper, and think about the top 5 clients that you've worked with, right? Who are the top 5 people who've made the most incredible transformations, who have come from, pain and really moved into pleasure, who had massive tangible outcomes as a result of the work that you did together? Who are they? Who would they be? And I would love to invite you to go through that formula that we've spoken about, the different questions, right? Who is the hero? The hero is your client. Who is the mentor? The mentor is you. Who is the challenge? What is the challenge that your client had to go through, right? This is a really, really important thing, especially when you're using case studies, and talking about your case studies through a storytelling format. Who's live? Let me know so I can say hi. Jump on in. Don't be shy. Let me know who you are. What's the challenge that your person had to move through, that your client had to move through? Hi, Christine. So, and let me pause. When we're thinking about this, right, when we're really thinking about the work that we do with our clients, hi, Darlene, welcome. It's really powerful, of course, as we spoke about yesterday, to be thinking about the problems that we're solving. We're problem solvers, right? We're not going to be talking about the intricacies of how we solve that problem necessarily. We're talking about the general overarching problem, right? Yeah, the hero animation is brilliant, isn't it? It's one of the best ones that I've seen that really powerfully articulates the hero's journey. So we're talking about case studies and how to take your case studies, your client transformations, and how to turn them into storytelling pieces. And it's very simple, right? You essentially just use that framework, right? Where you talk about the client, you need to mention who, not necessarily, obviously you don't talk about who they are specifically. You don't give away defining features, and you might want to get their permission first. Most people are very happy for you to do this, especially if they've had amazing results working with you, yeah? So, what was the status quo that they were living in prior to you working with them, right? What was happening for them in their life? What is the, who or what is the villain that you have helped them overcome, right? As we've spoken about, it doesn't have to be a person. It could be a mindset. It could be an external issue. It could be an internal issue. It could be a person. It could be a relationship. Lots of different ways that the villain can show up, but we want to create tension when we're creating storytelling posts, right? Bringing in tension is really important because that's what gives people that emotional connection. So how has your client overcome adversity? How have you helped them to move through that cycle of transformation, as we've spoken about, or the hero's journey? What's the reward on the other side that's available to them? And then what's the moral or the lesson that they've learned as a result of the transformational work that you've done together? So if you think about in the past year, who have been your top 5 clients, you will start to recognize that there's actually probably multiple mini heroes journeys that you've taken your clients through. Whether you want to speak about the overarching transformation from before to after, from pain into pleasure, or whether you want to think about maybe it's a mini transformation, right? You can break it down in so many ways. But knowing how to weave a story through your content based upon your clients' transformations that you have helped them facilitate is incredibly powerful, right? This is how we step into this realm of learning how to sell without selling, right? We're describing the powerful and potent transformations that we facilitated, and we are essentially illuminating, letting people who have been watching us or, circling around our vortex, having them enter into the sacred space for a moment. They have a sneak peek in, right? They have a sneak peek into that sacred vortex. When people work with us, They step into our vortex, right? And that's why our energy, the energy that we cultivate, the confidence that we bring is so important. So how do we articulate that prior to someone actually making that decision to invest with us? We do it, well, there's many different ways. What we're talking about today is story. So we can do that through storytelling. We can highlight that really, really powerfully, highlight the transformations that we facilitate, the way, maybe that, like, touch on the how. I wouldn't give too much of the how away in these kinds of posts. Really, it's more about talking, it's more about highlighting the transformation, highlighting that hero's journey. So I'd love to encourage you, if you haven't gone through the processes yet that we've spoken about in this challenge, we're going to have until Wednesday next week when I'm taking all the videos down, and I'm going to get all of those posts up so that you can see day 1, day 2, day 3. This week, today's all about going through and doing a bit of an audit of your client experiences, right? Your biggest client transformations. You might find that some people will love to record you a video, right, as a testimonial. And you can actually take words that they've said or written out of that and include that in the storytelling pieces as well. That's absolutely possible too. So it's really powerful just to get into the habit of creating on a consistent basis, right? Being in your creator mode, not necessarily, as we spoke about yesterday, being in consuming mode all the time. This is you stepping into your creativity. This is you stepping into your genius. And that has to happen really first and foremost before we start to see any long-term success in business. We need to claim our genius first, right? People are not going to claim our genius for us. We need to step in and claim it, which means that we need to cultivate the confidence, the self-belief, the inspiration, the creative inspiration to actually step into that space, right? Where we are not questioning the intuitive nudges to act that we have, right? Where we're creating, whether it's writing, whether it's video, whether it's creating trainings, we're showing up on a consistent basis, we're allowing ourselves to be seen, we're giving people an opportunity to experience us, to be transformed by us in our free content. I'm a big believer in the power of, giving away high quality content for free, because, the more someone can experience my work, the more they can bond with me, right? The more they might hear my story, the more they might actually, start to understand the way I tick. They might feel me on a deeper level. So I'm a big believer in giving away a lot of free content. And I do that because it works. Forgive me because it's very muggy here. I'm probably going to start to sweat. I have a fan. I'll move it over. I do that because it works. As long as you have clear calls to action, right? As long as you're not just giving, then you're simply training your audience that they can take, okay? So stepping into your creativity, stepping into your genius, and stepping into the confidence that you have to give powerful, transformative, transformation-driven content away and have clear calls to action, right? So we need to know what's the direction that we're moving our clients in, or our potential clients. Where do we want them to go? What's that natural next step for them to take with us that this piece of storytelling content is going to highlight, right? Maybe you choose a story that highlights a particular theme that's connected to a program that you're launching, right? So many different ways you can work it. You don't always need to be having calls to action in your storytelling content, not at all, but I would encourage you to at least have some in your content, right? Because otherwise, like I said, you're training your audience that you're just going to give away everything for free without anything in return. And that's actually, it doesn't serve our clients to do that, does it? Because they're only getting a fraction of the transformation that's available for them if they were to actually step into that sacred container with us, if they were to step into that space, make that investment and step into that space where they can actually experience the powerful, high quality, high caliber experience of our work. So, Darlene, be in and out as for a walk looking at the damage. Oh, you're up in Queensland, aren't you? Let me know how it's been up there. I know it's been flooding. Gosh, I was only saying just at the beginning, 12 months ago it was fire. I was talking about how in January 2015, the book that I contributed to, Leaders, became an international bestseller. And I was, there was smoky red clouds everywhere and we couldn't barely breathe. And everyone was walking around in masks because, not from COVID, but because they couldn't breathe for all the smoke. And our book became a bestseller in like 6 different countries in about 10 different categories. How crazy that was to be in this like dual, to be in 2 different worlds at once. But how powerful, so, so powerful. So this is the power of us actually claiming our story, right? So I want to check in with both of you. We've got 2 people here live. We're going to have more people that are going to be watching the replay. So as you're watching the replay, please hit me up in the comments with the answers to this question, okay? How are you, where are you on the scale of I own my journey? I own the transformations that I've experienced. I'm sharing that, right? I'm owning that. I'm talking about that. And I know I did this question at the beginning with a scale of 1 to 10. I really want, this is my intention for this, the 3 days together is for this to be an activation for you, right? To activate within you the fact that you have lived a freaking amazing life, right? Your story is your gold. It is absolutely your gold. And if you're not sharing it, you're missing out in a massive way. Not only are you missing out, but your potential clients are missing out as well, because by you sharing your story, this is an opportunity for them to bond with you, meaning the more they bond with you, the more likely they are to work with you. And when they work with you, they're going to get the incredible transformation that you can facilitate, which has the potential to transform their lives, right? So it's really, it's a big deal. I'm going to sit on it for a while, because if you're not owning and really like sitting in the power of your journey and talking about it, maybe even talking about it to the point where you feel like you're bragging, right? That's okay. Yeah. You must be doing this. Okay. So this also looks like looking over your life and understanding, what are the things that I've done that differentiate me from everyone else? This might be your career in corporate, right? It might be the fact that you've run 4 different other businesses. It might be that you've lived in 50 different countries, or you've traveled to 50 different countries. It might be that you've got all of these incredible certifications, or you studied some wild things at university, or, whatever it is your experience, the things that build your credibility, the thing that differentiates you from everyone else. It's really important that you actually start to articulate that, right? That you start to talk about that, and that you start to talk about that over and over. You know how many times people need to hear us saying the same thing over and over and over again before it actually sinks into their consciousness and into their subconscious mind, right? It's many, many times. People need us to repeat these things. It's like babies and children, right? This is how we learn, right? We learn by repetition. So I really want to encourage you not only to own the power of your story, to talk about your story and to share story, to talk about your client journeys and your client transformations using storytelling, but to sit in and really powerfully own your experience, your life's experience, the thing that gives you credibility, right? You will all have the very unique ways that you have managed to get to this point in your life, in your business career, in at whatever stage you are. There will be many different experiences that you've gone through, like we've spoke about in our first session, hundreds of thousands of hours potentially that you've invested, hundreds of thousands, maybe thousands and thousands of hours that you've invested studying, money that you've invested, right? The amount of coaching that you've had. You've probably spent tens of thousands of dollars on coaching to get you to the point where you are in your business. It is totally okay to talk about that, right? And to have that be a talking piece, to share stories from your coaching, from you as a coaching client, from you as the coach, right? To really bring into this evocative storytelling picture, right? Because it just has such a powerful impact on the way people perceive you. So let me know in the comments. I know there's a few of you. Oh, look, you've got all these comments here that I haven't seen. 10, owning 10, sharing 3. Next year is all about brand awareness, which is why this challenge is so good. Sharing 6 out of 10. Beautiful. Okay, so it seems like you're owning it, but are you really owning it if you're not sharing it, right? I'm going to challenge that. I'll say probably not, right? And that's a whole other kettle of fish to talk about as well, of course. We've got all the old outdated wiring that says you don't be too big for your boots. You don't be a tall, you don't rise up too much in case you get cut back down, just like everyone in Australia with the tall poppy syndrome. I really believe that those days are dying, that the days where we've got to all stay in this mediocre level, kind of like we're all just drinking warm beer. We're just warm beer. We're not even cold beer. We're just warm beer. We're just medium, right? Those days are over. Those days are gone. That's the declaration that I made to myself when I decided to really step things up in my business, which was about a year ago, year and a half, actually, what was it? It was about March last year. I remember because it was when I met my fantastic, amazing coach. And I made that decision. I'd been plodding along in my business, plodding along, doing pretty well, but medium, playing it pretty safe. Yeah, like sharing myself, opening up myself a little bit and then shutting right back down and sounding just like everyone else out there as well. That's another way that we can identify how powerfully we're standing in our uniqueness, because maybe we just sound like everyone else when we create content. Maybe we're not actually really owning our voice and our individuality and our uniqueness. And that was me, honestly, not that long ago, like maybe 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, and I was making sales. I was making some sales, like some months were good, some months were not. Until I met my amazing coach, Adriana Monique Alvarez, who's one of my amazing coaches. I have numerous coaches around me. My support network is big, right? Big now because I know the power of investing in that, right? As a side note, I have absolutely no problem investing in my support network because I always, always get an incredible return on investment. But when I made that decision, you know what? I'm no longer going to be mediocre. I'm no longer going to just blend in with everyone else, right? And that had been my story for a very long time. I have very bright red hair, as you can probably see. When I was at primary school and high school for many, many years, I was bullied for that, right? Bullied because I stood out like a sore thumb. I remember one day I got my hair cut really short. It was really cool, kind of like this actually. And I was called Ronald McDonald, right? And that's like it's like seared into my memory. The cool girls that I was trying so hard to be friends with, like, oh, you look like Ronald McDonald, right? So I stood the fuck out. And then as a result of that, what happens, right? We swing back the other way. Yeah. So we shrink down. We try not to bring attention to ourselves. We try to be mediocre. We step back into the shadows. We don't claim anything about us whatsoever. We don't, we do mediocre work. We have mediocre jobs. We have mediocre opinions, and it's a survival instinct, right? Because we don't want to stand out. So when I made that decision, I'm kind of blurring a few things here because it was after the birth of my child that I actually made that decision that I was going to make my business work. But it took a while for me to get to the point where I was like, do you know what? I need to do whatever it takes to stand the fuck out now. I'm going to challenge everything in my DNA, everything in my nervous system that screams to me that that's not safe. I'm going to share vulnerably. I'm going to open up my world for people to see. I'm going to start to, be more bold in my expression. I'm going to step into my power. Such a powerful decision to make that, because unless we make that decision, we're just going to blend in with everyone else, right? It's like, how do we stand out in the online sea of sameness? That's the way that I look at it. So your ability to own and to harness your life's journey and the experiences that you have generated throughout your lifetime, the credibility that you've evoked, right? The things that you've done that lead to your credibility, your transformational client experiences, the money that you're making in your business, the big wins, the big leaps forward that you're having, your ability to own that and to share that through story format is a game changer, an absolute game changer, because it changes the way people perceive you. I didn't like high school either. It changes the way people perceive you. It does many, many times over. What I'm going to talk about now is another incredible tool, the most powerful marketing tool that I've found, which is why that I'm now, running my business around it, to really dramatically raise and change and transform the way people perceive you and your business as well. This is the power of becoming published, okay? The power of publishing your story in a multi-author book. Now, you might ask, what is a multi-author book, right? Essentially, a multi-author book is a book that contains the chapters of up to 20 to 30 other people. So the multi-author books that I facilitate, they are for women in business, so they're other entrepreneurs. And the benefit to being in a multi-author book, essentially, it solves the problem. Like, I don't have time to write my book, right? How many of you out there know you have a book in you? How many of you may have even started writing a book? Writing a book is a massive undertaking, and in fact, only 1% of the population actually ever get published. And the amount of those people that go on to become best-selling authors is even like much, 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 much lower than that. So the benefit to sharing your story in a multi-author book is massive, right? It's like what I've seen in my Wild Woman Rising Women, who we're about to launch in January, that book. What I've seen there in their experience through really channeling their chapter, writing their chapter, is it's what's the word? It's not a rebirth, it's an initiation, and it is a rebirth, right? I've had so many of these women reaching out going, I am a different person now to who I was 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago when I made the decision to invest in this project. I'm a completely different person. It brings up a lot of their stuff, right? You want to imagine the amount of stuff, like you want to think writing a book is hard, right? Let alone writing a chapter, right? So these women who have written their 3,000 to 3,500 word chapters and who've had so much stuff coming up to challenge all of that, but who've broken through that, the old mindset limitations, and jumped to the other side where they've done it, they've completed it, they're happy with it, they're proud of it, and this is them stepping into that next level self, next level version of self. So if you're wanting 2021 to really be the year that you up-level your business in a massive way, that you take things, that you scale it to new heights, then my invitation to you is to reach out and book in a call to see if you're a fit for this project. So the project that I have at the moment that I'm currently taking applications for is the Sacred Rebel project. So this consists of the multi-author book, right? We have 25 to 30 women who are going to be contributing their chapter, and also the summit. So this is what's different about this one. We have an online summit that's attached to it. So what are the benefits of being in a multi-author book and having an online summit, right? First of all, you are increasing your credibility in a massive way. For the women who are in the Wild Woman Rising project, they all say the moment I announced to my social media channels, to my community, that I was becoming a published author, it was like people love it, right? It goes absolutely gangbusters because people love to see other people stepping into becoming an author, right? It's something that people just love. They recognize, they see the validity of it, and it changes the way people perceive you. It changes the way people perceive you, the work that you do, your business, instant credibility, essentially. Then when you talk about when that book is actually published and you've seen the charts start to spike, you see the book spike through the charts, and it reaches that #1 bestseller status, which is very easy to do with a multi-author book. That's one of the reasons why it's so powerful, because you have all these women marketing to their networks, sharing with their people, and we also put on big Facebook ad campaigns as well to get this book out there in multiple different countries, as many countries as possible. You can add best-selling author to your bio. Now, what's the benefit of adding best-selling author to your bio, you may ask? Like my woman the other day said, I don't know how that would benefit my business. I was like, oh my God, are you serious? Massive, massive benefits, yeah? Not only does it raise your credibility, not only are you tapping into the international networks of many other women in the book, but you're also able to leverage becoming a best-selling author. You can leverage that experience to be featured in publications, to be featured in summits, to be featured on podcasts. You can use, and this is what we're teaching through the process as well, you can use the book to be featured in your local media, especially if you have an in-person clinic. This is a very, very powerful component that I would, for everyone in Wild Woman Rising who has an in-person clinic, I'm saying to all of them, like, you must utilize this feature, and we walk you through how to do that so that you can be featured in the local media, right? Which is how you start to generate local brand awareness and local credibility. Not only that, but it helps you to expand your network. Yeah. So if you've come to this space where you're going, I'm doing everything in my business, but I'm not signing the clients that I would like, I'm showing up on Facebook, I'm showing up on Instagram, I'm showing up in my email marketing, but for whatever reason, the clients still aren't coming. 9 times out of 10, it's because you need to expand your network, right? There's also other components to it, messaging, the strategy component. But we're talking today about the power of expanding your network and expanding your network on a global scale, right? So, so important. So the people that you are engaged in with your community will always be reflective of the kind of clients that you're signing, right? So if you take your business to that next level, many levels up, then you're going to be able to sign clients who are a much higher caliber and who are also able to pay you at the rates in which you feel you deserve to be paid. The transformation that you facilitate is valued at. When you are able to say best-selling author, it adds that credibility, right? That credibility that gives you those opportunities to be able to raise your rates, to be able to be featured in Forbes or Entrepreneur or whatever magazine or publication it is that you want to be featured in, that your people are reading, right? That your people are consuming. How do you get yourself in front of them? Yeah. Very, very, very powerful. It expands your network. It helps you to differentiate yourself in your niche, right? So not only are you, the kinesiologist with the amazing story, the amazing journey that you're experiencing, but you're also a published author, a best-selling published author as well. And you can use that book in so many ways, right? So powerful. Literally this year in my business, I became a best-selling author 2 times over, and my business has quadrupled in profit, right? This year, in the middle of a pandemic. Quadrupled. It's been the biggest year by far, whilst being pregnant and growing a baby, right? It's been huge. And I wholeheartedly contribute that to the way I was able to expand my network and step into that next level version of self through becoming a published author. So powerful. So as I mentioned yesterday, mentioned briefly about the Sacred Rebel Project. Essentially, this is for the women in business who are challenging the status quo, who are doing things differently in their business, whether that's in the way that they do sales, in the way that they treat their clients, in the modalities that they use. Maybe they have their own modality that they're cultivating. We have some amazing women who've stepped into the container already who are just challenging old, outdated messaging, right? They are challenging that. They're challenging the tradition. They're challenging the status quo. And that has a big impact, right? The only way that we're going to create the new earth, I believe, is by challenging the old earth, right? And stepping out of that into the new space. So essentially, this is an invitation. If you're watching this and you're ready to step into that beautiful bestseller space, you're ready to become a published author, you know that it's time to up level in your business. You know that it's time to claim the power of your story, to write your story, to write your chapter, and to be published on the global scale, which is a big deal. It's a really big deal. And with the summit, of course, which I haven't even really spoken about, that's another big deal that's attached to this as well. Then the invitation is to reach out and book a call with me to see if you're a fit. I'm not taking everyone in this project, right? So the thing with this is that it's very specific, the kind of people, the kind of woman that I'm taking on. I'm taking on women who can match the energy of the book, essentially, right? It's a big project. It's a big energy. I want women who can match that with the work that they do in their with their clients and with the message that they are here to share, right? The message that is here to transform the world. So I hope that's been an activation for you. I know we've spoken about, the power of owning your journey, owning your genius, owning your story, owning your client transformations. The invitation to you is to take action on this, right? If you're just watching these videos and not doing anything as a result, it goes in one ear and out the other, right? Don't let this be just another piece of information that you've consumed and kind of consumed and put it down, right? The way that you experience true transformation in your business and in your life in general is by taking action. So can you commit to doing the steps that we've shared? Can you commit to starting to share more stories, to starting to look at your Genesis story, to uncovering who have been your A-grade clients this year? What have been their big transformations, and using that in your storytelling. And for those of you who are ready to step up into that next version and join me in this incredibly powerful project, the invitation is there for you to step forward. Alrighty, my loves, that's all from me today. Happy Friday if you're in Australia. Happy Thursday evening if you're overseas. And happy Christmas as well. I'm about to start, as of like Monday, I'm going to be taking a few weeks off. But yeah, most welcome to reach out to me if you'd like to inquire more about the Sacred Rebel Project. It's big, it's got really big energy, and you'll be feeling a resonance in your body if this is for you. And, I really encourage you, like the worst thing that can happen is that we can say, no, it's not a good fit, right? But don't miss out on this opportunity because you're afraid of being seen or because you feel you don't have a story to share. Who's going to listen to me? Don't let that be the small-minded excuse that stops you from stepping into what could potentially be the biggest up level of your life. Alrighty, my loves, take care. Speak soon.